This week, we're going to get into designing for effective meetings. So we're going to take design principles and we're going to apply them to what we do with the call plan tool, an effective meeting tool. First thing we want to understand when it comes to a meeting is know who is going to be in the room. So who are we actually meeting with? And this could apply to who are you sending something out to? Who are you engaging with? Who's the group of people? As the who's start to increase, the number of who's increase, the complexity of this starts to increase as well. Ideally, the who's are all part of the same group or the same company or have a common interest. Anyhow, let's think about it in the context of one person though that we're meeting. We're going to design for effective meetings with a single person. Who's going to be in the room? Next thing I want you to do is anticipate their objectives. What do they want to accomplish? What are they trying to do? What do they want to get out of the meeting? Why are they actually spending time with you? Why are they taking the time to read something? Why are they engaging with you? Why? Why are they there? What's their objective? What's their goal of this thing? This is called anticipating their objectives because you're going to make some mistakes. But if you take the time to anticipate what someone else's objectives are, you can start to design to help them achieve that. The next thing you want to know is what are your objectives? I like to put this as our objectives. So our objectives. Sometimes you might want to look at this and say put a Y in front of it. So our objectives. What are our objectives? What do we want to accomplish? What's the thing that we either want to learn, we want to convey, we want to share, we want to test? What's the thing that we want to accomplish? On either side, I don't want there to be more than 3 objectives. If there's more than 3 objectives, there's going to be a high level of risk associated with it. We might be trying to do too much, depending on how long the meeting is. If it's a large event, then I would break out sections of that event into smaller meetings. Again, deconstruct, isolate for specific variables, go out there and solve for those variables. Anticipate their objectives, know what our objectives are. This one we should know, this should be really clear. And then know what our desired next steps are. What is it that we want to have people be responsible for next? And I like there to be 3 next steps. There could be 5. You could have 3 to 5 next steps, but what are the desired next steps? What are the next steps we want to make sure are established? Remember, if you pay attention to how I take notes, I usually will use a red marker to keep track of next steps so I know that it's a thing that I need to call back to. But what are our actual desired next steps? When we understand this, if we know who's going to be in the room, we understand what their objectives are, anticipate what their objectives are. We know what our objectives are, and we know what our desired next steps are. We can start to lay out, design the meeting to achieve those results. So if the end is next steps, that's the end, right? That's where we want to go. What needs to happen before we get to those next steps? What needs to happen before that? What needs to happen before that? What are the 3 things that need to happen in the meeting in order for us to get to next steps? Well, first thing we need to do is we need to clarify. Let's clarify, gain clarity around objectives and the people that we've got in the room. There might be someone extra inside the room. Once we've gained clarity around those objectives and we're aligned on both sides, the likelihood that we're going to hit our next steps is going to be pretty clear. Then we start to work through our specific agenda points, whatever those are. It could be point 1, point 2, point 3, whatever you have out there. But there's going to be this flow of questions that you're going to ask, information that you're going to share, maybe some follow-up questions that you're going to ask. So questions, information, questions. What I'm trying to do here is be really aware of the amount of time that it's going to take to move through each of these individual pieces. In a discovery call, where my objective is to learn and potentially identify where else we need to have access. So learn, do they actually have the problem? Are they really interested in solving it? Meaning, are they trying to solve it in one way, shape, or form today? Who else needs to be involved in it? Those are my objectives. My next steps might be to get to a capabilities discussion, a discussion where we put together scope of a program. Next step might be introduction to other people inside the business. And next step might be that they want me to share a case study or something to that effect. I've got those things. Well, I'm going to have to ask questions in this front end to make sure that I clearly understand what are the things that are happening inside their organization, who's dealing with it inside their organization, how they're trying to solve for it inside the organization, and what the risk is of not solving. Anyhow, ask questions, share information, ask additional questions, get to those next steps. This is how we design for an effective meeting when we're meeting with a customer, specifically in the context of a research meeting. Let's say we want to do this with our team. It's an event. Well, let's say that their objective is to not be bored, maybe learn something new, figure out how it might help them achieve their goals. My objective is to share the thing that I think is going to be new and is going to help them achieve their goal. And my desired next step is they actually put the work into practice. Well, I can design backward for it. We gain clarity around why we're meeting as a group, begin with the end in mind. We ask the team what their view is, their perspective is on this thing. Have they done anything before? Do they have any personal stories that they can share? This might help drive engagement. We share the information, have some group interaction that's happening in the process so that they're engaging with each other. And then we wrap up with any open questions that are out there and clarify what the next steps are that are expected. A different type of meeting, but using the same concept, the same plan, the same approach, the same tool and thinking to help achieve the result. This is how you design for effective meetings with your customers, both internal and external.